Good evening. It's Wednesday, the 30th of November, and it's time for the news on RIK2. A twister caused extensive damage to two livestock farms near the Paphos International Airport early this morning. The twister lifted the heavy metal constructions to a great distance, injuring animals in the two farms owned by two brothers from the Paphos community of Timi. The farmers claim that they have suffered damages estimated at dozens of thousands of euros and requested state assistance in order to rebuild. The twister also destroyed potato plantations in the area as objects of the farms landed in nearby cultivations. The farmers claimed it was simply a miracle that no one was injured. Remarks by Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan that Greek Cypriots were hungry for the control of the whole island were simply unacceptable, said President Anastasiades, who noted that such positions undermine the climate of trust that should have been cultivated by Ankara. Commenting on a statement by visiting British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson that London will not abandon its commitments towards Cyprus, a remark that was interpreted as a commitment to guarantees, the President clarified that the British official meant the interest of his country in reaching a Cyprus settlement that is acceptable to both sides in the framework of EU and international principles. The President said he briefed Mr Johnson extensively on the current state of play in Cyprus negotiations, reiterating the readiness of the Greek Cypriot side to resume talks, even tomorrow, and discuss all pending issues, including territorial adjustments. President Anastasiades stressed that if and when the two sides reach agreement on the criteria of territorial adjustments, as the agreement was in taking the negotiation to Montpelleron, then Nicosia is ready for a multilateral international conference that will lead the negotiations to their conclusion. Asked whether the condition of codifying such criteria on maps still stands, he said that this condition remains on the table. On his part, the British Foreign Secretary said he was impressed with the progress achieved in Cyprus settlement efforts over the past year. He described the meeting with President Anastasiades as very good, adding that he had congratulated him over the leadership he had shown in Cyprus problem negotiations. Boris Johnson made clear that the Cyprus issue only concerns Cypriots, adding that his visit to the island aimed at supporting the process and being as helpful as possible. He further noted that British commitment to Cyprus remains strong, adding that his country will always be there for Cyprus now and in the future. The British Foreign Secretary also held talks with his counterpart Ioannis Kassoulidis, and in a joint press conference following their discussions, he made clear that there is no deviation whatsoever in the British position on guarantees. Johnson said that London's steadfast position on the matter is to follow the decision of the two communities on the aspect of security and guarantees. Britain, he added, is not seeking any special role in Cyprus. He also underlined that the status of the British bases will not change following the country's withdrawal from the EU. Ioannis Kassoulidis stressed the need for the withdrawal of the Turkish army and any other army following a solution of the Cyprus issue. The rest, he added, is a matter for negotiation. Back on the issue of Tayyip Erdogan's remarks on Greek Cypriots being hungry to control the whole island, in a written statement by government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis, he described the positions as unacceptable, particularly at a time of ongoing efforts to continue settlement talks. In the same framework, he added, such threats do not contribute towards restoring trust between the two communities and creating the necessary atmosphere in the country. As a response to such remarks, Christodoulidis noted, Nicosia reiterates its determination to continue a dialogue aimed at achieving the end of occupation and the reunification of Cyprus the soonest possible, not on terms serving one or the other country or third countries, but a settlement responding to the expectations of the people of Cyprus. President Anastasiades expressed the deep condolences of the government and the people of Cyprus on the death of Fidel Castro. The president signed the book of condolences at the Cuban embassy, saying afterwards that he had expressed his condolences to the ambassador for the loss of a historic leader both to the country as well as the global community. People may have many and varying views on Fidel Castro, Anastasiadis said, but he remains a personality that symbolized revolution against every authoritarian regime. He was a great friend of Cyprus, he added, and therefore he cannot but express his deep sorrow. He further expressed the hope that the Cuban people will move ahead with progress based on democratic principle, adding that the country has a role to play, particularly in Latin America, but also worldwide. The Kremlin said that Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan's statement that his forces in Syria were there to topple President Bashar al-Assad had come as a surprise to Moscow and that it expected an explanation from Ankara. In a speech yesterday, Erdogan condemned what he said was the failure of the United Nations in Syria and cast Turkey's incursion in August, when it sent tanks, fighter jets and special forces over the border, as an act of exasperation. "We are there to bring justice. We are there to end the rule of the cruel Assad, who has been spreading state terror," Erdogan said. The announcement really came as news to us, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters on a conference call. "It is a very serious statement and one which differs from previous ones and with our understanding of the situation," Peskov added, expressing the hope that Turkish partners will provide some kind of explanation about this. Now a look at the weather. Overcast skies tomorrow with local showers and isolated storms with the possibility of snowstorms over the Troodos Mountains. Winds will be light to moderate, southwesterly to northwesterly, strong force 5 over slight seas. Temperatures will reach 14 Celsius inland, 16 in coastal regions and 5 over the mountains. That's all from us here. Join us tomorrow for more news in English. Have a very good evening.